What's up, everybody? Welcome to CFP Talks. I am Joe Nissom, along with my co-host, my brother from another mother, Mr. David Fuchs. David coming to us live from Penn State. I mean, the guy's like,
Fear.
his IQ goes up like 20 points every time he puts on a Penn State shirt. It's just
There
like good memories make him smarter.
you go. That means a lot coming from a Rutgers alumni.
So let's dive right into it. We're going to keep this episode really short and sweet because I think the message that we have for you guys today is a short and sweet message. And I can't emphasize this enough. I do typically I meet new students. I meet typically and assess 4 students every single week. I've been doing that for a majority of this year. It's very rare where I have a week where it's not full of assessments. And I assess people for 14 to, I might be at 18 different exams that I teach or touch in some shape or form, whether it's through mentorship or through actually physically teaching the exam. And there's one common theme that always comes up. And it's probably the most relevant for an exam of the CFP's magnitude, which is knowing your definitions. This is a study practice that very few people use. It's a study practice that almost everybody should use. And I can't emphasize this enough. You know, we talked a little bit about how most of us will kind of use the Q bank as a study mechanism. And a lot of this comes from not from using the Q bank as a study mechanism and not using things like flashcards or matching or word association to learn a topic. 9 times out of 10, when I'm assessing somebody, I'm saying, what's the definition of this? What's the definition of this? Can you explain on a very fundamental level in one sentence, what is the marital deduction? What is a exchange property? What is a 1035 exchange? What is a 1031 exchange? What does it avoid? What does it not avoid? What is a mutual fund exchange? What is a right of accumulation? And I do this all the time, regardless of the exam. And a lot of people look at me and go, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Right. But they may be able to answer questions on it, possibly, but probably not.
Exactly right. And you know, since we're in the mode of analogies today, it's like using a word in a sentence that you don't know the definition to, but you're trying to infer it from context.
I do that all the time.
Right. And all of us do it, right? And you know, when you nail it, it's great, right? I inferred the definition from context, but then I try to use it again and I sound like a total idiot.
Yeah.
And the reason being is because you understood. We know that in English, a lot of words have multiple definitions and can be used in different ways. And, you know, I used to do this in my 20s. I'd hear somebody say a cool word. I'd like, wow, that's a great word. I'd go back, look it up, go, oh, and then I'd use it completely the wrong way. And like people, clients especially, we go, this dude's an idiot. And it's like you know, and again, that's essentially what the Q bank does is it gives you this false sense of confidence because you inferred it properly from context one time that you can repeat it. The problem is that the context changes. And Gary said this on our episode a couple months ago. He's like, that context, when it comes to CFP, context matters. So the same concept that you learn in investment or GPP or estate, where they give it to you in one context, it's one answer, and they give it to you in a different context, and it's a completely different answer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of us we want to put everything in nice, neat little boxes where this is the context that this exists, you know, and as humans, that's what our brains want to do. All right. And I'll give you, and this is how I know this is true. You ever see somebody from work that you never see out and you see them at a restaurant and you triple take? I mean, you see this person every day at work and you triple take that person and you're going, Oh, I don't know you from here, right? I don't see you out. This is weird, right? Oh, I never see you, right? And the first thing, hey, what are you doing here? Well, if they're at a restaurant, they're probably there to eat, you know? But, this happens to me all the time, right? Like I work in a WeWork and there's probably 500-600 people that roll through this, through these 2 floors of WeWork every single day. Then I'll see them and then you see them out and I'm like, I had to like triple take. I wasn't sure if it was you.
You
I,
don't think that they're not like real people
yeah,
outside of
yeah. And I see these people every day. But again, the context has now changed, so I'm now triple taking to make sure. And how many of us have been there? We're second guessing. We're going, wait. I've never seen it in this context. I've never seen it in this context. It doesn't work.
let me point out one other thing.
Yeah.
About just like knowing definitions, right? There's times actually where I was taking whatever exam it was, not just necessarily like the CFP, but any exam, or even when you're like reading an article and you come across a sentence or a paragraph, and the sentence or the paragraph or the question centers around one specific word or maybe a few specific words. And if you don't know the definition, you really have no idea what the entire paragraph is saying, even though it's only 2 words.
Yeah.
If you do know the definitions, you'll comprehend it 100%.
Yeah.
And I just remember, like, on exams, including this one, I would see a question and I wouldn't know the definition, or I wouldn't know what one of the words meant, which threw off the entire question.
Right.
So just another reason, for the whole point of this.
And I'll tell you, knowing your definition will bail you out of so many situations because you get 4 choices on the CFP exam. And if something has nothing to do with the definition, you put yourself at least in a position to kind of get it right. Where even if you bring it down to 50-50, it's a better position than not knowing where you can bring it down that this could be 3 of the answers. Or crap, I don't even know where to begin. So this could be any of these answers. And I think that's where knowing the definition is really important, because it's not just going to help you figure out the right answer. It's going to be help you to eliminate. And this is really a test taking thing. And this is not something that we want to get used to. But knowing your definition gets you started right on the right path. So when there's wacky answers, you just know that, well, that's not possible. It doesn't fit the definition of this situation. So the name of the game initially is you got to know your definitions. If you don't know the definitions, and so many people come to me where we just have a straight knowledge gap. And if you're trying to shortcut the process by inferring out of context, you're setting yourself up for failure. It's a very simple thing to do. Most of us don't want to do it, and again, this is not just a test taking thing. If I want to run, if I want to learn how to run, I'm going to try to find the easiest way to get me to run. I'm not sitting there and focusing on my fundamentals and my gait and where does my foot strike on the ground. I'm not paying attention to any of that. What's going to make me run faster? Oh, and that's where we start building bad habits. Focus on the fundamentals, get really good at that, and knowing your definition, and then start over and know your definitions even better. Because the amount of times that this will bail you out of trouble is absolutely incredible. Such a simple thing, but it's so powerful. Anything to add to that, Mr. Fuchs, before we wrap it up?
Well,
nailed it. Everybody, if this video was helpful, I ask you to hit the like button and subscribe. And as always, you can reach out to David or myself. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.